Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, please email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. It's your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on our channel. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we're discussing a model launched in 2007 at the SIHH in Geneva. This is the 44mm red gold Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Compressor Diving Chronograph, part of the Master Compressor Diving line that launched that year, the most aggressive ever JLC sports watches. The timepiece in red gold is 44 millimeters in diameter by 16.1 millimeters thick. We'll get a little bit closer so you can see from lug tip to lug tip, 51.9 millimeters, and the spacing between the lugs is 22 millimeters. I should note this is not the post-2009 Master Compressor Diving Navy SEALs iteration. This is the Master Compressor Diver with no pretense of being worn by combat swimmers, which I appreciate as it's not trying to be something it isn't. On my wrist, 16 centimeters circumference. What it is absolute grandeur. You can feel the heft of this watch with its solid gold caseback and its enormous block-like gold carapace and bezel. It's broad across the wrist, so I'm going to recommend this watch for a wrist of 16 centimeters circumference or larger. My wrist, as you see it, is 16 centimeters circumference. The timepiece includes a JLC vulcanized rubber strap, bellows style. It's pleated for greater flexibility, and you can see on the underside, it has some hollows carved into it to better vent the wrist on a hot day. The buckle is simple but handsomely matched the case. As you can see, a combination of polished outer faces and a satin top. It's a pin buckle in rose gold, JLC branded. The case is simple but strong. You have linear satin finish on the case band, vertical satin finish between the lugs. There's vertical satin finishing on the lug profile that contrasts with the sweep of the case, and then there's this little expanding transitional bevel between the lug hood and the lug flank. You can also see that the lugs are rather dramatically set out from the case band, so this is not a blended lug look. It has a strength and angularity to it. The compressor crowns are part of the brilliance of this design. We have rubber caps for the chronograph pushers as well as the crown. That's what you're looking at. The black material is rubber. And then for the chronograph, we have a 1/4 turn release. So 1/4 turn, 300 meters water resistant, 1/4 turn. Now I can operate the chronograph function. The primary crown is 1/2 turn, and it locks the system so that you have that 1,000-foot water resistance. And yes, I know it says 300 meters, and that's not quite 1,000 feet, but these watches were tested beyond their rated depth. As ISO 6425 divers, they should be set for 125% of their rated depth. Now, this system is great because not only is it easier to use the compressor crowns, which are patented, when your hand is wet, sweaty, or gloved, but it also doesn't thread a stem through the seal. Threaded stems wear down crown seals. Here we simply compress and decompress without ever moving a structure through the stem, or I should say through the seal. Now you also have a bezel with one of the most satisfying clicks you will ever encounter. And as you can see, it is a 60-click bezel with a wonderfully chunky detent and handsome detailing. As you can see, the knurling outboard is polished on its face, but the recesses between the knurling satin finished. There is a circular satin finish. You can see there are little rubber inlets, or I should say rubber inserts, inside of the Arabic numerals 45, 30, and 15. Then we have raised and relieved polished indices, an enormous luminescent triangular index. Inboard, you can see a pulsation scale is used. This is for gauging your pulse, better to know when you might be running low on oxygen. We have rose gold trapeze style hands, and then an all applique dial with applique indices and numerals. Note that the font used and the shape of the indices is actually borrowed from the Polaris 68. A sunken sub-register. You can see there is a chronograph minutes register. We also have a chronograph hours register, which note is not sunken into the dial. And then we have two semicircles, one black, one white, just like a black and white cookie, and that is your constant operation indicator required per the ISO 6425 definition of a dive watch. Since 1996, you have to have something that shows the watch is always in operation, so you do not start a dive with a stopped watch. Now, the timepiece uses a vertical clutch system, so you can start the chronograph without any jump or stagger. There is a column wheel, so it is a very crisp and satisfying chronograph to operate. And then because of the vertical clutch, there's no play in the system. You can just leave it running full-time if you wish to have full-time running center seconds. Now, the watch does include a hacking or stop seconds function, so I can stop the works if I wish to. It also has a quick set system for the date, so I can rapidly cycle the date. The watch includes caliber 751 internally, which is water resistant down to 300 meters. And as you can see, about 41.666 days of testing, 1,000 hours. The Master 1,000 hours control is a test of winding efficiency, power reserve, shock resistance, water resistance, and chronometry as a fully cased up watch. It goes beyond the bare movement testing that the COSC undertakes. The movement itself is an automatic winder with unidirectional winding action, ceramic rotor bearings for efficiency. It beats away at 28,800 vibrations per hour. It has 2 mainspring barrels and a 65-hour power reserve with a free sprung balance for shock tolerance and durability. And of course, it has all those features we mentioned before: vertical clutch, column wheel, quick set date, and stop seconds. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. Back with the Master Compressor diving chrono. Note the constant seconds indicator is half loomed and transforms before your eye.